Sean Meyers joined by Brian Brozeski, the head coach of the Norwin girls basketball team, as they enter the 6A playoffs as the number one seed and the likely favorites as well. But Brian, to get to the postseason, obviously you had to have a good regular season, and your team did that. 18-3, no losses against WPIAL competition. You won the section title in convincing fashion at 10-0. How do you sum up how the regular season went based on the expectations you and the players had heading in?
Yeah, it was something that we were hoping that we'd be able to start off the season, if you would, on a positive note and finish strong. And so with the record, we're pleased that we were able to go through and stay undefeated. But we also acknowledge the fact that, some of those games later on, maybe we weren't playing our best basketball and giving the other teams a lot of credit for taking and making us play challenged basketball, if that makes sense. And what ends up happening is, gives us a lot to work on during these next few weeks in preparation for the tournament.
You mentioned that you didn't finish as strong as you had hoped, but you did find a way to win those games, which is crucial, of course. But when you were playing your best, in particular, maybe the wins against North Allegheny, what was the winning recipe that you saw from your group?
Honestly, just chemistry and having a good night. And it sounds weird, but you always want to make sure that your team's playing hard and getting after it. And one of the things that you can focus on, that you can control, is the effort that you have. And so we got to make sure that we have that. But then also, I don't want to say luck, but you just want to have an on-night shooting. And so when you have that like mixture of playing well together, having good chemistry, having good energy, and then your shots dropping, that's whenever you have a special night. And we were able to have that against North Allegheny.
You have plenty of juniors and sophomores who are big-time contributors on this team, but thinking specifically of the senior group, I'm sure they set goals to go out as best as they possibly can this year. How much has that been a motivating factor for those players who have come awfully close the last couple of years?
It's probably been one of the most motivating factors, I know, for me personally. This senior group is a special group, going from top to bottom. And I just, I'm not sure if people understand, how talented they are and what good people they are. And in order for other people to hear their story, I think, for us being able to go ahead and make a significant run, will get people to know them more, not just for what they've done this season, but even moving forward and following them in the future, because they are special young people.
Let's look at the bracket in 6A. It's a little bit different than most brackets because only 8 get in. There's only 2 sections, so it's fairly evident how it's going to play out once the regular season concludes. You get the number 1 seed. I'm guessing you had anticipated that. How did you evaluate the seeding as a whole for the bracket?
You know what, this bracket is, from top to bottom, probably the closest I can ever remember. I don't see this tournament going chalk. I think there's going to be upsets in every round. And I don't even know if it's fair to call them upsets, because everyone from 1 to 8 is capable on any given night of beating the other opponent. And so it's going to be tough. It's going to be one where, again, you just got to make sure on game night that you're out there able to go ahead and put your best performance out there. And from there, you just got to be able to play and try to move on by winning one game at a time.
The committee, if at all possible, tries to avoid rematches in the first round of most brackets. But since this starts in the quarterfinals and there's only the 2 sections, I think it was kind of inevitable. So you go against a team that you competed with in the same section in Seneca Valley. And ironically, it's the Raiders who you played in your last section game. Is that a benefit to see a team twice in a close proximity? Is it a detriment now seeing them 3 times? How do you kind of look at it?
You know what? I think no matter what the situation is, you're going to have pros and cons to it. And so with it, like whether you're playing the same opponent for the 3rd time or whether you're playing an opponent for the 1st time, there's going to be, like I said, pros and cons. And what you have to do is just, go in and try to make sure that you're on top of, preparing and saying, all right, hey, just because we have some familiarity with them, we have to understand they have 2 weeks to prepare for this. And so, Coach Epps especially is a really good coach. So there's going to be some wrinkles that, she's going to be able to throw at us and have her girls prepared for. And you just got to be able to adjust and adapt on the fly.
I know that they have really good size that probably few opponents can match when you think of trying to slow down Pelangio and Kobus and players of that nature. How much of a challenge do they present with their size, and what else maybe stands out about Seneca Valley to you?
You know what? It's not just the height or just like the size on a vertical component. Their strength is another thing that is really significant. Coach Epps really believes in a hard-nosed basketball style. And, she brings that energy on the sidelines and she gets it out of her players. And so not only do they have some, tall size, but they also have a fighting nature in them that they really play aggressive basketball and make you earn every movement, not just every shot, but every movement. So you got to be able to be strong and keep a level head in there, because it can get physical at times, and you got to just be able to stay on your game.
You have a 2-week layoff from when the regular season wraps up to when you enter the playoffs. What do you do during that time to keep the team sharp?
Keep on, changing things up, but staying in a routine, which is kind of like redundant to say something like that. But, you want to make sure that the girls aren't getting into a lull of, the same old, but to the same respect. Some of the routine type things you want to continue to focus on, continue to sharpen. Also scheduling, scrimmages in there can, really help, break up the whole 2-week layoff.
Is it fair to say that it's championship or bust?
It's fair to say that we want to make sure that we win our next game. That's going to be fair. So that's going to be our mindset every time. And, you can't get caught up looking too far beyond. When you start looking beyond, that's whenever things sneak up in front of you, and you can't let that happen. So, our mantra and our mentality is going to be, hey, let's focus on this next game and win our next game.
Lastly, you've been in the playoffs many, many times now guiding this program. You've had a lot of success. What's so special about the WPIAL postseason?
You know what? I don't know if I appreciate it until I actually got here, because I'm not from the WPIAL. I'm out Blairsville way and was out there. And so, when I first got here, I heard everyone talking about the WPIAL, and it kind of caught me off. I was like, all right, never really focused on district. I always focus on state. But then once you're around it for as long as I have been, you realize how special the WPIAL moments are. And I think one of the things that helps bring that is the community environment. In the WPIAL, you're playing teams that are within, a half hour, 45-minute drive of you. And so you really get a good drawing of teams that are close to you. And there's a lot of fanfare, for lack of a better word. Sometimes when you get into the state tournament, as nice as it is, you're playing teams from multiple hours away. And so you don't get as much of that community environment. So I think something that's really unique about the WPIAL is the fact that it's so concentrated with so many good teams from single A the whole way up into 6A as well. And so it should make for, a fun couple of weeks here for people around Pittsburgh that like basketball.
Hopefully it's a fun couple of weeks for all the Norwin Knights fans as well. Brian, thanks so much for doing this. We appreciate it, and good luck.
Thank you, Sean.